Have you ever looked around and wondered if fashion is losing its vibrancy? I mean, if you walk into a store nowadays, most of the stuff is quite minimal and neutral. If you're lucky, you find some blue shades and maybe some reds. But are we indeed becoming less and less colorful? Or is it simply my imagination? Because I kind of felt when growing up it was a bit more colorful. First things first, I looked into studies and I found a recent one that was done with the help of AI. They analyzed over 1,000 different household items from the 1800s till the 2010s and extracted the color out of it. What you can see quite noticeably that since the 1980s the amount of grey color in our daily household items began to rise, and now comes the most shocking part. Today nearly 60% of all stuff is grey. Isn't that crazy? While I was researching, I was reminded of the children's TV show Momo that I watched in the early 2000s as a child. And Momo was a child who was bringing adults back to joyful life. She was wearing orange, she was positive and playful and simply brought back joy. And she was working against the grey man who would steal the time and the life force and the joy from all the adults. And that was a reminder for me, because I was wondering, has grey an effect on our mood that is negative? There are dozens of studies on color psychology out there, and it is a field that is still growing, because each one of us perceives color differently, so it's quite hard to measure the effect of a color. But I found a study who surveyed over 2,000 people from different backgrounds on their perception on color. And I found it quite interesting that generally across all cultures there is a consensus on how a color makes us feel. For example, black stands for sadness. White and blue are connected with relief. Red and pink stand for love. Green for contentment. Yellow and orange for joy. Purple for pleasure. And brown for disgust. Nonetheless, brown is quite a popular color. On the other hand, we attach certain qualities to color. For example, black is very powerful, sexy, and bold, whereas white is very pure, clean. It reminds us of wedding dresses, old Greek statues, and this luxurious feeling, whereas silver stands for innovation, modern life, a progression. And then there is red, which is pretty bold, sexy, powerful. It is attention grabbing. On the other hand, there is blue that stands for trust and calm feelings. It gives us this feeling of safety and security. Then green, which reminds us of nature, relaxation. Then yellow, which is a happy color, which reminds us of the sun and positivity, joy, summer. Same goes for orange. and then grey, which is very neutral. It isn't standing out. It can be quite calming, but it also can be quite depressing. After jumping into the study about the attractiveness of a color, I found out that younger people like black, pink and yellow more and find them more attractive, whereas older people between age 45 and 54 tend to like purple and camel or brown colors more, which is quite interesting. We can say that chromatic colors are more attractive than non-chromatic colors, except for black. But in a way it is contradicting our study that grey is increasing. Why is that? I have a couple of theories. If you also have a theory, write it down in the comments below. I'm intrigued to know more about your thoughts. And if you liked this video so far, give it a thumbs up. First theory is we live in a world of overstimulation. And when we are offline, we want to relax. We don't want to be distracted, which is why we crave neutral colors in our home and in our fashion, simply to calm down, because the digital age takes a lot of concentration and attention away from us. So in our private space, we want to chill. The second theory is we don't want to stand out. There are some days where you simply don't want to stand out from the crowd, and neutrals are perfect for that. The third theory is it's a trend. In the last couple of years we have seen the rise of the Scandi trend and quite luxury, for example, and we kind of want to be perceived as classic, rich, powerful, pure. And there's no better way than wearing neutrals for that. After reading all these studies, what I personally think is we want to bring stability into an unstable world, and these classic trends, this quiet luxury and the neutral color palette give us a feeling of persistence, of stability, which is why I think it is trending right now. Even if chromatic colors are more attractive and seem to be more liked by the general public, I think these classic neutral colors help us to cope with this ever-going change. Personally, I want to bring a bit more color into my wardrobe, which is why I'm trying to sew a bit more colorful garments over the next couple of months. I'm curious if it will have a positive effect on my mood, and I'm excited to start this journey. If you want, you can join in. I will film some videos in between and let you know how I feel. I think I will never fully let go of neutral colors. I still want to mix them, but I think some colorful garments could have a positive impact on my mood, and that's always good. If you don't want to miss out on my new videos on fashion and sewing content, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell. And this video on color analysis could be interesting for you because I found out why the traditional method isn't working.